they're trying to make a WhatsApp call on that.
It looks like it's Talib.
Okay, let me
So if you can
message
message him and ask him to join the call.
Yeah, I'll message him.
There's nobody
All right,
there.
okay, so yeah, we got around 20 people here. I expect a few more to join. I've started the recording right now. Now, how I'm going to post this recording, I'll figure it out. But yeah, so this is being recorded. It's going to have lots of useful information. There's lots of questions that you guys have, and there'll be an opportunity for you to ask those questions at the end. We got Hussein over here joining. Assalamu alaikum, Hussein. All right, so you should be able to see the presentation on it's being shared right now. What I would ask is, in fact, I'm going to mute everybody.
Good idea.
So I've muted everyone right now. The way that we're going to do this is we will, I'm going to go through the presentation. If there's anything, a burning question that you have, there is a raise your hand feature on Teams. Raise your hand, and at an opportune moment, I will stop and give you the opportunity to ask your question or make the statement that you need to. Otherwise, we have time at the end of the call, hopefully, where you can ask any questions that you want. I guess that's really the only rule over here. So stay on mute unless you're going to say something. If you want to say something, put your hand up first and we'll let you know. You can also write things in the chat, but I'm not looking at the chat. So it might get missed, but we'll try and cover it at the end. So, all right. We're looking at the presentation. If there's anyone that can't see the presentation on your screen, please, raise your hand, and we'll see if we can fix that. But I feel that it should be, it should work quite well. All right. So, assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to join this call. It's about riding from Basra to Karbala, right? We're all on the group. We've all seen the messages, and I've been bombarding you with messages. So welcome to this call. So Imran, if you can move to the next slide, please. So we're going to be covering some points on here. We're going to go through introductions. There's questions. This presentation has come out of a lot of questions that have come to us and a lot of information that we want to part with and give to you, because it's very useful for us to be able to give it to you in this forum. Otherwise, having 45 people ask me questions and the same question, it can be very difficult for me to plan other stuff. So these are some of the items that we will be covering. If we can go to the next slide, please. Okay, so what I'm going to do is there's 5 of us that are the main core team that are planning this. So what I'll do in the order over here, Imran, could you just introduce yourself and a little bit about yourself?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Good to see you all here. Yeah, Imran, my name is Imran Mondani. I've been cycling for 5 years, and I've been lucky enough to attend the yearly Desi Riders trip and be part of the team as well. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure I must have ridden with most of you, whether indoors or outdoors. And I'm really looking forward to riding with you guys and doing Ziara in our trip almost next month now. Yeah,
almost next month. Imran also used to head up SJ Cycling and organized a number of events, Iowa, and a ton of rides during lockdown, and it was very, very popular. So yeah, Imran's got that experience under his belt. I'm not sure if Heather was able to join. Heather Sim, we call him, but that is not his surname. But let's skip. He's unable to join, I think. So we'll move on to Amir. Amir Zedi.
Salam, everybody. Yeah, I'm Amir. I've known a few of you from various other trips, graduating from driving the support van in Italy to riding in Spain, and yeah, look forward to doing ziyarats with you all and riding and meeting you all. For those of you who I haven't met in Iraq, inshallah.
Cool. Thank you, Amir. So Amir's been very helpful. Oh, sorry, I was going to say a little bit about Amir. Amir's been very helpful with, planning, and you're going to see his expertise coming into full flow later on in the presentation. Sorry, Zahir, I cut you off there. Please go ahead.
I wasn't me talking. Assalamu alaikum.
Oh,
It's I'm Zahir. Anyone on this trip from the UK has probably interacted with me for flights. Inshallah, everyone's happy with their flights. If you're not, just let me know. And I've been on quite a few of these trips, only once a year. I know Raza's trying to do multi trips a year, but only get visa for one. And inshallah, we'll see you all in January for this trip and ziyarat.
Thank you very much, Zahir. And what we do, we've got an hour. Hopefully, we'll get everything wrapped up in an hour, and then there'll be time for questions and maybe a little bit of banter at the end. For those of you that have joined just now, if you could put yourself on mute, and I'll remind everyone again, if there's any questions you have, you can raise your hand or you can wait till the end and ask those questions. So please keep yourselves on mute unless you have a question. And then there's me. I do like cycling a little bit. And I've been doing rides for a number of years, international rides as well, and it's just grown and grown and grown. We started with just 3 of us going on a ride, and the last ride we did was what, 25 people just this July. So international rides, organizing them, I think it's fun. I enjoy doing that sort of stuff, and that's the pleasure I get out of it, to see other guys getting out there and enjoying the scenery, nature, and getting a bit of exercise done. So if we can move on to the next. Okay, so this is a great slide over here. So just I was just talking about what I've been doing. So since 2018, it started with 3 of us going to Wales, and then it was like, well, actually that's quite a really good thing to do. And we went to Wales, and we also did Snowdon while we were in Wales, and then the following year we said, well, let's do something else. So we went to France. We did cycling in France, and we did Mont Blanc. Well, we did a mountain next to Mont Blanc, but it was in the Mont Blanc area. Then Cornwall, Spain, Geneva, Gibraltar, Mallorca, and Iraq. And then next year, well, let's see where next year takes us. But it seems to be growing and growing and growing. And every one of these rides is just, I've had people help me out. I've had the introductions over here, the guys that just introduced themselves. They have been there in the background helping me. There've been others as well, soundboards. Sometimes I make a decision and it's probably not the right decision, and these guys tell me it's not the right decision. We get together and we get what we need to do. We're just you guys. We're the same as you guys. We're in the community, and as I mentioned, just want to ride. So we'll move on to the next slide, please. Okay, so this is the team. Right, we have 32 riders and a number of support people. So it's 45 people in total that we are catering for. We all hopefully Mukhtar Karim will be joining us. He is the one of the main members of the Lady Fatima Trust, our charity partner. So he'll be joining us out there. We've got Muhammad Jawad, who's not able to be on this call, but he will be our film crew, and we have support people, and everyone else here on this list you can see they are riders. So everyone, just make sure your name is there. Your name should be on this list. So let's just take 5 minutes, and if anyone wants to come off mute, just talk about what you look to get out of this ride. So just to remind you, it's from Basra to Karbala. It's 550 kilometers. They say it's relatively flat. You're more than welcome to come off mute and just tell me about your thoughts.
or maybe what you're most looking forward to. I'm certainly looking forward to meeting guys from the extended community internationally, I think. And also, you know, I don't think there's many trips where you can combine, you know, your spiritual imperatives with, you know, with exercise, with brotherhood, and enjoying the journey itself. I think that's certainly what I'm looking forward to.
I think this trip, I've always said it ticks a lot of boxes. It's got the brotherhood aspect to it. It's got exercise. It's got just getting one with nature, and it's got ziyarat, and it's also raising money for charity. So I think every single box you can think about, I think we're ticking it here on this ride. Yeah, and have you got Haider? Are you here now from Iraq? Have you joined us?
Yes, I am here.
Okay, assalamu alaikum.
Bad reception. Alaikum salam. I got bad reception. I don't know, maybe I can't. Can you hear me clear or what?
We can hear you.
Okay.
So introduce yourself to us.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Haider Al-Hassan. I live now in Baghdad. I'm here trying to be like the middleman between all the group and the Iraqi government. And sorry, I was sleeping then, so I can't concentrate on everything. And I don't know. Shall we start, like, you know, going for the ahead for the update?
Yeah. So okay. So what we'll do is I'll continue with the presentation, Haider. So I'll stick you on mute for now, and then you know, if there's anyone wants to say anything, raise your hand, and you can have the mic.
Raza,
Hey,
I'll say
chaps.
something. Yeah. So assalamu alaikum to everybody. It's my first time actually I'll be going over to Iraq. I'm really looking forward to it. I think all of the trips that you've put up, actually, this is probably the most ambitious. So hats off to you and the organization committee. Actually, it seems with all the email traffic and the messages we're getting, there's huge amount of work is being done in the background, and we're doing it for a very good cause, actually. But it's the first time that I would have done something like this, so it's kind of a life-changing event for me personally. Actually, 6 days of continuous riding plus 3 or 4 days of ziyarat and all that stuff. But it's quite a life-changing event. I'm really looking forward to it.
Cool. And I just want to mention that we have some of the riders that we have are seasoned travelers to Iraq. We have those that it's their first time visit. The majority of us belong to the same Shia community, but we have our Sunni brothers here as well, and it's first time and an opportunity for them to visit Iraq as well. So we've got a big you know, mixture of people on this trip, but I guess the thing that we have is, you know, our mindset is all the same. You know, we're just kind of chilled out guys. Okay, if we can move on. If there's no one else, we'll move on to the next slide. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is probably the thing that's in the forefront of your mind here is like, what is the political climate happening? Is this ride going to go ahead or not? At this moment in time, the ride is going to go ahead. We're looking at the situation in Syria. We're looking at the situation in Iraq, and we have been looking at the situation, you know, with Iran and you know, Lebanon and Gaza, because it does play a factor in this. So the way it stands at the moment, the ride is going to go ahead. We will continue to monitor it, and if anything changes, we will let you know. We don't want to put ourselves in danger for a bike ride, and we don't want to do that for anyone else. All right, so that's that. I guess that's our stance on this situation here. But you know, we can host any questions if you have afterwards. Next call. Okay, so visas. So this is the tough one, right? Iraq, even on a good day, it's not possible to get a visa. But there are companies out there that can give you visas. For the UK, I mean, I know about the UK, but you know, I don't know about other countries. But the UK has a visa on arrival, and there is also a website. I think you can get an online visa as well. And I tried to use it, and it doesn't really work that well. But what we'll be doing is doing the visa on arrival, but I understand and I appreciate that for the UK it's going to be a visa on arrival, but I appreciate that there are some of you that don't have a British passport. You've got the Canadians, you've got those from East Africa, passport holders. You may need to find another way of getting your visa. I'm sure you guys have done it before and you know how to get that visa, and it will be exactly the same process. There is a portal there, and I can post that later. I think Hussein Abadi posted it. I tried to see if I could get a visa using that portal. It didn't really work that well. So I can see over here Canadians can get visa on arrival as well. So thanks for pointing that out. So it is down to you to get a visa, but we can if you need any help, you just let us know. We'll just signpost you to the right place. Okay, next slide, please. Travel insurance. So travel insurance to Iraq is pretty much non-existent. The Foreign and Commonwealth Office in the UK says you cannot go and visit Iraq unless it's an emergency. However, there are companies that can give you travel insurance even if the Foreign and Commonwealth Office does not. I've only been to Iraq once before and I didn't have a visa, and I'd be surprised if any of us on this group got any sort of travel insurance. So those of you that do feel that they need travel insurance, there is this company over here. I can send the details out, and there's a link and there's a telephone number there, and it gives you a rough idea, rough cost of what the visa will be. I'm not sure if you can make out for for one person, it's around £250. For a level 1 visa, level 1 travel insurance. Sorry, I don't know why I keep on saying visa. I won't be taking the travel insurance out, but you may want to. So this is one option, and you may have your own insurance broker. But again, this is something that you would be responsible for yourself. Let's go to the next slide, please. Okay, so this is expectations, right? What can you expect from us? One keyword that I always talk about, and the guys will maybe you might be sick of hearing this, or you'll smile when I say it. It's the journey, right? So we're all going to get there in the end, and we're going to get there together. And the stories that we're going to have when we get to the end will be the stories where things didn't work out, where we took a wrong turning, where we stopped and had a break, where we saw a wonderful scenery and the conversations we had and the jokes that we had. I guarantee you that in a year's time, you're not going to look back at this ride and you're going to say, oh, I got my personal best, or I was going 23 miles an hour, or I managed to do this on Strava. Look at my Strava. You're not going to look back at that. What you are going to look back at is the group and the stories and the fun and the ziyarats that you did with the group. So that's what we say when we mean it's the journey. So I mentioned this earlier, we all have the same objective and we're like-minded, and that's quite key in this, because sometimes things will not go according to plan. Even when on our last major trip was Milan, things we hadn't planned things out until we got into Milan, and the team and the riders that we had that went with us in Milan, they understood that because we were all on the same page. We had the same objective and we are like-minded. And this is another phrase that I want to introduce. It's called the spirit of the event. So we, the team here, the main executive team that are planning this, we will plan as much as we can in the best way, but we can't plan everything. Some things are going to be planned for us when we're out there. And what I would ask you to bring with you is the mindset. It's the spirit of the event. It might be that, okay, maybe we booked, there's 45 of us and we might have booked, 44 beds, but no worries, right? We'll get through. So it is a massive unknown. Italy, everything is on the internet, and we still had to plan things when we were out there. Iraq, it's not on the internet. You can't just go onto booking.com or any of those websites and plan your trip. You got to go out there, and that's why we've got Heather out there. Heather, that's actually going to be going and doing the ride. So yeah, so he'll be going there and doing the actual route that we're going to be following, and he's going to be doing a recce at some point. So bring that mindset along. All right, we're in this together. It's the journey and the spirit of the event. As I mentioned, I'll guarantee you we will fail in some places. We will forget to do something, but we would ask you just to be patient with us, because we, as I mentioned, and I will continue to mention throughout this presentation, we are just like you. We're planning this, but we're not getting anything out of it. We're not tour operators. We're not a business. We're not a charity. We are just guys that want to get you lot out there and be cycling. So every penny that you put in, we've also put that same money in. So we're not even making any money out of this. And for those of you that are familiar with it's this thing called Tough Mudder. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. It's like this race. Now, the key thing about this race is that you haven't finished until the last person has got through that finishing post. So we're a big team here. We're going to be a team of 44, 45 people, and we will not finish until that last man finishes. We're all there together. When it comes to giving us feedback, we're happy to take feedback. We have worked hard to try and reach our objectives using different methods. So I'll give you an example. Trying to find an accommodation or working out our routes. There's lots of different ways to do it. We've gone and we think we've done every avenue and we found the best one. So if there's any feedback you want to give on the trip, you're more than welcome to for next time. But the exec team's decision will be final, because the decision that us five will make will be a decision for everyone. And I'll give you an example, right? So you've got Imran Mamdani. We call him Iron Legs, right? You guys know him as Iron Legs. So he can power up those hills, right? He can ride pretty fast. However, if he was making a decision for himself, he would say, yeah, let's ride at 20 miles an hour. Let's power up that hill. Let's get to the end, right? But that's not what this ride is about, right? This ride is about doing it for the team. So yes, that's great that he wants to do that. However, the decision that he will make with the rest of us in the exec team will be the decision that is the best for most of us. So it's not going to cater for the 1 or 2 people that want to do X, Y, and Z. It's going to cater for the 30, 40 riders. So bear that in mind. So sometimes you might feel that, okay, things aren't working out, but we just need to balance it. We're not going to be able to make everyone happy all the time, but we're going to try and keep the majority of you happy most of the time. A couple of pointers that I want to mention is I've created an announcement group on WhatsApp. The announcement group is there for important information. So you can go and look back and you can see, okay, this is the important information. So one of the things was this meeting, information about this meeting. So I will continue to put only important information, and I'll bear in mind that it should be, the announcement group is going to be something that you can refer back to. So what I'll do is, this meeting recording most probably will find its way on the announcement group, because anywhere on any other group, it might get lost. There is also the main group, which is still open to chit chat and banter. So we'll keep that one open. If you feel that you want to mute it, you can mute it. But the announcement group, please keep an eye on that announcement group, because that's important. because if any of us send a message out and it's an important message, I want to make sure it's got to all of us, all 45 of us, and it's difficult sometimes chasing other people because maybe they haven't read a message, or maybe I posted a message and then 5-6 messages or 20 messages came down afterwards, and it's very easy to miss. I miss them as well. So the announcement group is the group for all of us to keep an eye on and make sure we don't mute it. And a few other things I want to mention. So if I or anyone in the exec team have to chase you for any information or for you to do something, it's because it's probably been missed on the group chat, which is now the announcement group. So hopefully you won't. So please don't mind if I'm having to push you to, you know, get X, Y, and Z done. It's because you may have missed it on the group. It's easily missed. And also bear in mind that if I've had to chase you for something, I've probably had to chase a dozen other guys, and you know, it might be a 2-minute conversation, but if I'm having that 2-minute conversation with a dozen other people, then that's a lot of time that you know, that comes out of my day. And you know, just like you guys, you're busy, you're working, so am I as well, but we're just trying to juggle and help me to help you by, again, looking at that announcements. If you have missed anything, I'll message you, but please try and jump on it and respond as soon as possible so we can close that off and move on. There are some decisions that we've made in the exec group, but we're not able to give you all the details behind the reason why we made those decisions. So why are we going this route? Why have we picked for, you know, the certain speed that we're going to do? Why are we going to be riding in a certain formation? Why are we staying on those towns? It's very difficult for us to give you all that information. All I'll say is just trust us. We have your best interests at heart. We want to make sure that everyone gets to every stop and gets to, you know, able to ride every day, or as many days as they want to ride as well. Everything we're going to do, again, is for the benefit of the many and not the few. This ride is to cater for all of us, not just for the slow riders and not just for the fast riders. There will be some difficult decisions that we have to make on the trip, and I'm not sure what they could be right now, but we've had to make difficult decisions before on our Iowa trip and other things. But just forgive us in advance. There is a reason why, and we'll explain as best as we can. So with that, what I will do is I will hand over to Amir. I think, Amir, your slide is probably the next slide, and Amir will be going through the code of conduct.
Okay, before we do that, I thought it might be useful to start to move you guys into the more granular part of things, so the actual detail. So everything that flows from that you hear from now on may sound dictatorial, which we apologize for, but as Raza said, it's intended to balance up a lot of different factors, ages of riders, location, various things. Let's start with our default ride formation. This is going to be an unusual ride formation compared to other rides that you may have been on, and we don't apologize for that. If you think about the trip, we will be moving from town to town, or city to city. Whilst we're in urban areas, the ride leaders will break down the groups as appropriate as we see the conditions. However, for the vast majority of the time, if you think about the scenery, the background, the environment we'll be riding in, it's appropriate to take into account a couple of things. We want to present ourselves as a group. Raza has spoken, I think, quite interestingly and quite picturesquely about the idea of us with our water blue shirts moving through a desert, and that image is pretty arresting. So as you'll see, when we're between towns, the default is that we'll ride 2 abreast. You'll see the blue blocks. That's obviously telling you that there will be support vehicles. One vehicle in particular will focus on catering. Others will focus specifically on filming. So the blue dots represent riders, the red dots represent ride leaders, and you'll note that there are floating ride leaders who will give instructions. One of those riders, and it may change day on day, will specifically be there to liaise between the 30 or so plus riders and the filming team, the documentary team. It's important for us, as well as all the charitable stuff, as well as all the other Ziara and other factors. It's really important for us to produce a really high quality documentary at the end of this, because that will produce huge dividends for the charity. It will also produce huge dividends for future trips, and I think it will stand as an advert for our faith and how we've conducted ourselves during this trip. So necessarily, we don't want one film team have to liaise with individual riders. The ride leader who's designated for that day will pull one or two of you out and say, look, do you fancy riding, stopping it to have a shot, or even be film while you're talking. More importantly, for the logistics, however, you'll see that there are ride leaders at the front and the back. The primary duty of the front leaders will be to do the usual things that front leaders normally do. Look out for dynamic risks, look out for road conditions, keep the group together in terms of maintaining a pace. And it's important that we say that no rider goes beyond the front riders. The riders at the back will also have the usual kind of responsibilities, plus one other responsibility. You'll see from the code of conduct that our aim is to get most of you riding at a single pace. So we're however far we're spread out as a group, it'll be based on safety. What we do want to do is keep ourselves at a regular pace. But we understand that some of us, and myself actually probably primarily included, may not be able to maintain that pace the whole time. So there are fitness reasons why we want you guys to get ready. And I'm sure all of you are working hard on that. If for some reason, for whatever reason, illness, tiredness, whatever it is, some of us can't maintain that pace, then the back ride leader will essentially ask those riders to move into the support vehicle. And often that will come up in issues like, when we need to move quickly to get to a place, but beyond a certain time. So that's hugely important for us. Moving ahead then to the code of conduct, that will be passed to you. I just want to cover perhaps a couple of really important things on the code of conduct. The first is that we ride together at 14 miles an hour. Of course, the ride leaders will up and down the pace according to what we need to do, but generally speaking, get ready for 14 miles an hour. The second point, when I share the code of conduct, you'll see is be on time for morning meetings. I can't explain how important that is. If we don't get together on time, we will probably miss windows when we need to arrive at a certain place for a break, or arrive where we need to arrive in the evening. So those two, I think, are the most important things. What I will do is arrange with Raza then to share the code of conduct at the end. One thing I will flag up, though, is that you'll see a reference there to 2 mile smash points. What we've tried to do is cater for those who want to go quicker. And Imran will speak more about the more competitive side of the ride, which will be a lot of fun in a moment. I'm conscious of time, Raza. Shall I? What I'll do is I'll probably hand off to talk about the route, and then leave the actual code of conduct to be shared.
Yeah, I mean, if there's any major points that you want to cover in the code of conduct, then we can do that, and then we can move on, or we can revisit it if we have time at the end.
I'm guessing that's a no, right?
Yeah, I think maybe Amir's dropped off. Okay, all right, we can revisit that at the end. So if we can go to the next slide, please.
That was the right slide, right?
Oh,
It already moved to the next slide.
Event overview. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Please.
So with this one, we've got groups coming in, arriving on the Sunday, and I think we've got people arriving in on the Monday morning, and really what we want is at the beginning, while everyone's bike is not yet assembled, just help each other out. It's Some people are really good with this. Some people are not so good. I'm probably one of the not so good ones, so I might lean on some of you to help me. There's a few things that that will be given out that Rosa will talk about later. Amir mentioned the daily briefings. Those are super important because that's where the information will be shared, and any particular questions that might come out of that can be answered there. Again, WhatsApp announcement group, that's the most important group for this trip before and during the trip. And Amir mentioned the ride formation stuff. There's something else we would like people to do, and that is to have a buddy that will that you responsible to looking after each other. Just you know, make sure everything's okay. If there's any particular issues, then you can flag it with any of the ride leaders that are close to you, etc. There's many things that are not yet completely figured out. Like, are we doing a local ride in Basra at the beginning once we've got our bikes set up, etc., etc. Some of those things will be figured out before the event. Some of those will happen ad hoc, and yeah, let's move to the next slide.
Sorry, just before we just go into that one, so I just want to talk about the buddy up system here. You can buddy up with someone different every day, as long as you buddy up with someone, right? And I'm going to talk about that in a later slide as well, because those of you that have a medical issue or have medication, that's where this buddying up system will really, you know, work in case, you know, something happens. Sorry, Zahir, I'll let you carry on now.
No worries, thanks. And this is the provisional route. And you may have seen this on the website for this. This is roughly around 100 kilometers a day. Some days will be some days will be more than 100 kilometers. Some days will be less. And importantly, download the Iraq maps onto whatever GPS computer you're using before the event, so that there's no need to rush over there doing that. Some GPS devices might already have the whole world on, but just make sure that that you have those maps. It'll be easier for you and everyone else if you've got that visible to you at all times during the ride. Amir mentioned everything about the ride formation, but there are support vehicles, and we should not go and stray in front of the front ride leaders, even if the support vehicle is a little bit further up. Strava, you've seen this link from Raza. If you're not part of the B2K club on Strava, please join. And just for being able to track everything, make sure your GPS computer is linked to your Strava account.
Yeah, and if I may, I can see a question coming in about the routes themselves. So the routes will not be finalized for a while yet. You know, we'll have the final routes probably a week before the ride. The routes that we have there are just, you know, point A to point B, and they haven't really been you know, recce'd, but you know, we'll be doing that shortly. You know, so by the time, you know, let's give it, you know, T-minus 1 week, we'll have the routes there. So I want to quickly, if you guys don't mind, I'm going to touch point on the Strava. So please, guys, just add yourself to the Strava group, the B2K Strava group. It's going to be fun if you do. And the reason why I say that is, yeah, well, I'll let Imran explain that. This is the fun that we're going to be putting into each of the rides. So there's the group there that Imran's showing on his screen. We've got 31 members here. We need to be at 42 members on that group. So let's get, yeah, and it's in the chat over here. If you can, click on it while we're on this call and add yourself to that group. It takes nothing more than that. You need to have a Strava account, and I think most of you have already. I think we're going over to Imran now. Are we with Imran? Or are we still with Zahir? Oh, no. Yeah, I think, yeah, that's it. Yeah, we're with Imran now.
All right, I'll just go with the Strava bit. So thanks, Zahir. Thanks, Reza. So we thought about the routes and the rides and the terrain, and it's pretty much flat from the get-go for the entirety of the 500 plus kilometers that we're going to be doing over 6 days. And obviously with the ride formation that Amir alluded to earlier, it's all due to logistics and safety. But what we also thought about, to add a twist, for those of you who have a bit of a, fast legs and urge to sprint, because you can imagine that it can get fairly boring sometimes. You just keep on spinning. Although it's equally as challenging, don't get me wrong. Just if you're riding indoors, just consider how difficult it is to ride indoors, because you're just constantly paddling. That's exactly how it's going to be in Iraq. There's not going to be uphills, downhills, no coasting, nothing. Well, you could draft. Let's find the biggest person who can put them right up front and draft him all along. But essentially, what we're going to do is, once the routes are confirmed, we'll, for every single day, we'll create a couple of Strava segments, no longer than 2 miles. Sometimes it can be shorter than that, even depending on the risk assessment that we perform later on in the state before the trip. So we'll create Strava segments across the route, maybe 2 or 3 per ride per day, which will give everyone an opportunity to speed your hearts out. And because these are going to be official Strava segments, we'll have leaderboards, make it a bit more challenging, a bit more fun. And the other important thing to notice from a safety perspective, and for us to manage the ride formation, when the segment starts, obviously it's going to be free for all, but obviously I do highly advise you guys to be careful and not just go gung-ho, because there are going to be riders that you might be overtaking. So obviously you have that safety mindset, but essentially it's going to be free for all. As Amir said, we're going to have 2 support vehicles, one at the front, one at the back. The front one is going to speed up as soon as it passes the segment, or just before that, and it's going to wait for us at the end of the segment. So the moment you start sprinting, and if your navigation is linked to your Strava, we will share the links to the segments so that you can star it, so that you get notified as you get closer to it. But effectively, as soon as you see the front van, you have to stop and merge with the group again. So we'll probably have a couple of minutes stop for everyone to get together, and we'll continue our ride from then on. So long story short, Strava segments are going to be created. There's going to be leaderboards, and I think that's all about it. Back to you, Raza. Anything I missed?
Okay, so yeah, I think you got another slide after this one, but yeah, this 2 mile smash, I'm pretty excited about it because it gives a little twist to the ride, to what would ordinarily be riding flat and straight for hours and hours. It gives you the opportunity to just ride your heart out and sweat if you're not sweating already. So for those and for this to work, you will need to be on Strava and be on that Strava club, the B2K Strava club. And at the end of the evening, we'll get together and we'll have a little bit of fun. Who came first? Put in a leaderboard. So you're more than welcome to ride as much as you want and get on top of that leaderboard. But equally, it may not be your thing. But still, you could try and get your personal best. So those of you that want to race, you can race each other. But those of you who want to race yourself, you can do it for yourself and get a personal best over the course of the period. So it's definitely a win-win. So Imran, I think this slide is your one as well. It gives a rough overview of where we'll be.
Oh, yeah, no, thanks, brother. Yeah, so just to give you a bit of an idea what to expect every single day of the trip, we have obviously curated this itinerary, which we are working against. However, before I kind of go into a bit more detail, just be mindful that everything here is subject to change. Obviously, as we try and finalize logistics and other things, both from here and in Iraq as well, as you can imagine, things sometimes can get quite complicated. So we expect minimal changes, however. So yeah, just wanted to start with that caveat. Right, so we depart where we're from, at least for folks everywhere except from Canada. I think boys from Canada, they're reaching Basra or rather Iraq at a different time.
Imran,
I'll exclude them.
Imran, if I may, let's skip the first 2 days. Let's start on the 28th of January, because the other 2 days are people arriving. So yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, sorry.
That's fine.
Thank you.
So day 3, 27th of Rajab. That's when the rides actually start. And as you can see, on average, these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 6th column where you can see the distance and elevation. Distance is in miles, elevation is in feet, so you can imagine how flat it is. And if you look at the numbers for miles, you're looking at roughly 100K a day on average. We're going to be stopping at 7 towns or cities from Basra to Karbala, and at least for what it gives you a good idea of the mileage that we're going to be expecting to ride on every one of those single days. Now, we're anticipating to reach Karbala on the 6th ride day, which is the 2nd of February, the 2nd of Shaban. And obviously we'll have a night in Najaf on the 1st of February, the day before that. Obviously, again, subject to moon sighting, we may alternate or adjust our itinerary slightly for those 2 days, depending on moon sighting, but we'll confirm closer to time. And I think that's pretty much it. And then the rest of the day after we've completed riding, we'll spend time doing our ziyarats and spending time in Karbala and doing etiraf or outside ziyarats as well. Yeah, I think that's about it, Raza.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. Thanks, Imran. So if we can move on to the next slide, I believe the next slide might be accommodation. So where will we be staying? It's very easy to find accommodation in Baghdad, Karbala, Najaf, and Basra. But it's those towns in between where we're looking for accommodation. So we do have some ideas of where we'll be, but the accommodation hasn't been confirmed. All you need to know is that it's going to satisfy a number of things. You're going to have a bed to sleep in. You're going to have a place to wash and shower. You're going to have food, and there'll be a place to store your bikes. It might be a 5-star hotel, or it might be something at the other end of the scale. But it's going to be something that that we ourselves would be happy to sleep in. So it's not like going to be that bad. when it comes to sharing rooms and requests, what I would say, and it echoes something that one of the one of the guys mentioned when talking about buddying up, make the buddies random. Also, when you're staying somewhere, there's lots of requests that come in, and I know that they will come in based on the previous trips that we've had. Can I stay with this person? I want to, be with that person. But what we're going to do is we're just going to keep it random. So every night you'll be with someone new. It might be someone that you wouldn't normally talk to on a day-to-day basis, but you're going to be with that person that night. And it's just going to be a random selection. It might be with the same person 2 nights in a row, or, a couple of times during the trip. But it will be random. It's not going to be designed to have a group of people together that get on well. It's going to one of the reasons for this trip is you get to ride with the people that you want to ride with, but equally you get to ride with new people. You get to stay with new people and have conversations and exchange ideas. So that's what it's about. I think that's the beauty of this as well. Ordinarily, I wouldn't be riding with sorry, I'm just reading a message that I think this Samir Chandu just put in, and I might have misread it. But let's be prepared to share with someone. And there's also the word tent written there. It is possible that in one of the towns we might be in a tent. All right. So just be prepared. But we will be together. It's not like you guys are going to be in a tent and the exec team's going to be in a plush room with a jacuzzi. We're all going to be there together, so we're in it together. So as much as we would like you to entertain your requests, we just probably won't be able to do that. But all through the ride, and I don't think I need to say this because it happens, and in all the rides that we've been doing over the years, I mention it, but it doesn't need to be mentioned. But just out of habit, I'll mention it again. Be mindful of each other. We all have our own personalities. We all have good days and bad days. But I think just we're all chilled out guys, and we're just on this trip together. I've put this last thing. We'll always have Paris. Now, those of you that went to Paris was it last year or year before? I can't remember. But all I have to say is that accommodation in Paris. Now, the guys that went with us know what I'm talking about, but I'm going to expand on that for everyone else. So we had 17 riders and 17 bikes. We found a 3-bedroom apartment with 2 shower rooms in Paris. We all managed to fit inside, have a good night's sleep, and the next day have one of the best rides in Paris that we've had. Now, this is what our ride is about. We just got on with it. You had people sleeping on the floor, and it's not going to be like that in Karbala, but just to give you an idea of how it happened in Paris. We had an accommodation, and that accommodation let us down in the last minute. So we got together and we booked another accommodation, which happened to be in Paris, and we literally changed our itinerary for that. It allowed us to do the ride in Paris, which is something that wasn't on our plan, and it was one of the best rides that we did. But that hotel or the apartment that we stayed at was tiny, but it's the only thing that was available at short notice. But the guys just did it, and kudos to you. So that's what I mean by we will always have Paris. We know what happened in Paris, and we will hopefully it won't be that bad. It wasn't even that bad, right? We all had a good night's sleep. We had a roof over our heads. We had a shower. We had all the things that we wanted, right? Shower, food, cleanliness, bike storage. It was there, but it was just a little bit tight. But we just got on with it. So that's what I would like from everyone. We just try and get on with it. We'll try and do our best. Okay, so let's go to our next slide. Okay, this is about our fundraising. So we have Mukhtar. If you're, are you still on the train? Are you able to put your video on?
But I am able to.
Oh, you're on the train. Okay, so you don't need to put your video on, but we can hear you.
But the 3 minutes I'll be off the train. That helps. I can start now. You tell me.
Okay, so I'll tell you what. I'll start, and then Mukhtar, in 3 minutes when you're off the train, you can continue. You might have a better line then as well. Would that be okay?
Sure.
Yeah, excellent. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, you are cutting out there. So what I'll do, I'll start, and then when you're off the train, just ping me, and then we'll get you talking. Okay.
I wasn't sure how to segue into boys for one. Boys will have a one-night stand, but there'll always be Paris. But you can rescue from that situation.
So Mukhtar, yeah, you weren't coming out that clear, but hopefully you can repeat yourself when you're off the train. So Mukhtar will be joining us again. He's just on the train at the moment, please bear with him. So our fundraising partner, our charity partner, is Lady Fatima Trust, and we have a nice target there. That target is 44,000, and that 44,000 is each of us raising £1,000 for that target. So Lady Fatima Trust is doing a lot for us on this trip, and it means that a lot of our costs are kept down. And the one thing that we want to do is give something back. So when we first thought about going to Iraq, we thought to ourselves, well, it's lovely to ride there, and we're going to ride through, what is the beginning of civilization, right? In Iraq, and we will see wonderful scenery. We will be taking part in activities out there. We'll be doing our ziyaras, but you know what? Let's give something back. It didn't seem right if we didn't give anything back. We've done rides in Paris and Switzerland and Spain and other places, and we didn't have to raise charity, right? They were like, first world countries there. But here in Iraq, because it has, a large number of widows due to, wars in the past, we felt that we have to raise money. And who was the charity partner? There were a number of charity partners that were, interested, or that we were interested in, but we found that Lady Fatima Trust, we struck a chord with them. We struck a chord with Mukhtar, who's the head of Lady Fatima Trust, and his vision is the same as our vision. And he was, guys, you just get on and do the ride, right? Raise some money, which is fine. We'll support you in any way we can, but you guys just concentrate on the ride. So we're getting really good support from Lady Fatima Trust and the team. And I think most of you, there's a couple of people that I don't think have set up a page. If you could set up your page, I'll reach out to you again to make sure. Maybe actually there's one person. I'm not going to name that person, but there's one person here that that needs to set up a page. Now we have a £1,000 target, and I'm pleased to say a number of guys have already reached it, and even gone way past it and increased that total. So thank you so much for those that have. But still, everyone has to do a minimum of 1,000. Now, what are the great things about Lady Fatima Trust? So our target is, I think, it's quite a modest target for our group. It's just £1,000 each. The money is going to be raised for Mothernomics. Mothernomics is one of the projects, one of the many projects. Mukhtar, are you there?
I'm here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll let you. I'll let you take over. Yeah. All right.
Sure.
So yeah, if you talk about Mothernomics.
Brilliant. Thank you for giving me a much neater segue. I mean, the last time you offered me to speak, all I'd heard was you'll be on a one-night stand, but guys, remember there's always Paris. And I wasn't sure how to rescue that conversation with anything that I had to say about Mothernomics or Mom or clean water in the volumes that we're providing the shrine. So first of all, Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Desir Riders, it's an amazing opportunity to address you, and on what a momentous and epic journey you have ahead of yourselves. On the specific of Mothernomics, I mean, given that I'm addressing a cycling community, just imagine a husband and wife happily riding their bike, tandem bike together. And for some reason, sniper, heart attack, road traffic accident, the husband flatlines and the wife crashes on the roadside, children in the back. The typical charity model I found when I started working at the Lady Fatima Trust was, and our colleague charities around, is to provide a tarpaulin tent over the widows and children's heads, bring food to them every day, food parcels, hot meals, groceries, whatever, and you just carry on doing that. And then 10 years later, they're still there and you're still providing food parcels and blankets in winter, and occasionally changing the tarpaulin tent and maybe taking a sleeping bag along at some point. However, these are human beings that can get back on their bikes. And it's the mother who needs to take the handlebars and navigate through the journey in life. She has the pedal, she can be given more pedal power. She can be taught how to use the brakes. She can use a safety lamp to show she's visible and for her to navigate the street. She can choose the direction of her travel, the pace of her travel, and that effort to get her off the roadside, back on the road, to care for her children, whether she gets remarried or not, whether she's in her 40s or 20s. Typically, they were at the early 30s at the point of widowhood or separation or husband in long-term imprisonment or missing in action. That is at the crux of it, what Mothernomics is about. Yes, we can compete with Paris on fashion. Mothernomics as a project has just turned over $1 million in production and sales. What do they typically do? Well, first of all, it's mental health well-being rescue. You're dealing with someone that has had a tragedy in their life. That is why they are a lone parent looking after children. Beyond the emotional well-being, which is an ongoing provision, there's skills training, typically sewing, to a level where the products are sold commercially. Why do we do this? It's because the objective is not just to hand out sewing machines, but to earn an income stream. So unlike the majority of microfinance projects out there, where they're busy handing out implements and tools of income, noble as that may sound, if you don't have a commercial output, who wants to buy your stuff, right? So if you come across something that is a one-off piece that someone has laboriously produced but is a misfit, a sleeve is longer than the other, the colors don't quite make sense, how many times would you go back and buy from the same person again? Again, if you had a good product, but available in low volumes, what's the likelihood that you are marketing your products to mainstream, where the commercial profitability is higher than selling to your neighbors and your relatives and anyone who feels pity for you? Again, if you are producing something that was in fashion 20 years ago, what's the likelihood that that would enable you to transform out of dependency into independence? So all these factors combined is what we seek to address at Mothernomics and give people a commercial edge. So who are the typical customers now? 20% of universities in Karbala and the south of Iraq use Mothernomics gowns to graduate. The holy shrines of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, all private schools there, including Al Warith, buy Mothernomics garments, which they co-create with us. They say, how about a blue collar and a pink bow here? And we are able to design that and make it en masse. A typical month would be about 3,000 to 4,000 garments. We have exceeded that in certain months, particularly if it's simpler garments. More complex ones, I can share a reel, or you can go onto the mom_LFT Instagram page. And today they had a Scouts uniform being designed and created. So essentially what that is doing is taking someone who would be in a welfare queue, for those old enough to remember it being called the dole queue, having money handed out, to now having an income stream. So hand out a tool of trade and you don't know how to use it and you don't market its services, most likely that sewing machine ends up on the physical eBay market. Yeah, someone comes along, you got a $250 sewing machine, they pay you $100, you say, Alhamdulillah, I can put food on the table for the next month or so, right? Beyond that, I've survived and Allah is there. But if you have an income stream of up to $1,000 a month, who knew if you will sell that for under 1,200 times 50, $60,000, because that is what you've just earned the right to do. Sit there, produce to your maximum capability, be part of a camaraderie of sisterhood where you're supported mental health, financial, healthcare benefits, transportation to and from work, nutrition advice, celebrating wiladats, commemorating shahadats together, and it builds a whole network. That essentially, in a nutshell, is what Mothernomics is about. And that's where I thought the synergy between what you're aiming to do in helping individuals beyond the food parcels and blankets and all that drive, which has its place. No, let's not diss those that are doing that work. It's emergency response. It has its place. But, you know, there comes a stage where you're beyond an emergency. And then the emergency becomes a status quo. And that is the chain, to borrow another cycling pun, that we wanted to break and give control of the lives themselves. So that's in Karbala. More than welcome to sort of visit on it as a group or in batches, and we can coordinate that closer to the time. One other project which is not on the so before we move on from Mothernomics, what does £1,000 do? £1,000 trains a widowed mother for 3 months, gets her the equipment of trade, and you will see from there that it's not just a sewing machine, but it's more than just a sewing machine into everything they need to holistically produce, the design and marketing, the sales, the mental health well-being support, the nutrition, to get on their feet. So new mother comes along, and until they have their own source of income, this puts them on there. So essentially what you're doing with £1,000 is getting a mother off the sponsorship queue onto a lifetime of earnings and the thawab jariyah that entails. But that's not just it. It's not one mother, because what Raza, with his negotiating tactics, managed to extract from us was a match funding. So for every mother you pull out of welfare and put on independence, the LFT matches it. So you're not just doing 44 mothers, you're doing 88. That means we've turned up on the table with £44,000. Raza's got to convince you all that at least 44 mothers deserve that opportunity to be able to transform their lives from dependence into independence. The LFT's 44 mothers are ready. We're just waiting for what you would like to see transform on there. Anyone got specific questions on allocation of religious dues and all that? Very happy to take that offline, unless you want to all hear about the same answer. But also in terms of how long will this take? Well, each sewing cycle is about 25 moms. It's a training room where 25 mothers are trained together. So essentially 44 will be across 2 training schedules. It could be a morning and afternoon training, or it could be across 2 training periods of 3 months each. And at the end of that, not everyone sits in the production. You're examined whether you're able to produce stuff to a commercial value. And if you're not, then you're invited to produce from home. Some of the items we will buy off you, some of the items you will sell, direct to the public, but it incentivizes excellence. It supports, it mentors. There is no, get out of here, you're not good enough. There's always a, how can we get you to a better stage in life? So that's the Mothernomics element. Raza also requested an element to go towards emergency relief, and absolutely very happy to accommodate that. And we're agile in accordance to the needs and what you identified to be done in the Lebanon-Gaza situation in terms of emergency response. I will also mention that whilst you're cycling through Najaf and Karbala, we've got our largest water purification plant. So essentially what this is taking borewell water from rivers and the lake of Najaf to purify it to drinking water standards. And it means that the ultimate goal is to eradicate plastic from the process, but at the moment, eradicate the mineral water capsules that you all get used to using out there because you feel that's the only safe way of drinking water. Over Arba'in, the daily consumption of water through the volumes necessitated there mean that 600 tons of plastic are discarded daily into landfill or burnt purely on water consumption. What food does, I know not. What other uses do, I have absolutely no clue. But water is that element that we are looking to address and to try and eliminate the need for single-use plastic or reliance on unsafe sources of water, or dehydration or illness that results from that. So currently there is capacity to produce 4 million liters a day, and that goes to the shrine of Imam Ali alayhi salam. It also has a similar outfit at the shrine of Imam Hussein alayhi salam that supplies Imam Hussein's shrine, the area up to Maqam Sahib al-Zaman, the area between the two harams, and about 80% of Hazrat Abbas's shrine's water needs. They supply 20% themselves. What we're looking to do over the next 12 months, possibly 6 to 8 months before Arbaeen next year, is to double that capacity in Karbala. So it goes for a wider coverage. It goes to more targeted utilization, where more than what is currently being consumed through the absence of mineral water capsules can be done on tap. Najaf has the infrastructure, Karbala is building that infrastructure, but it gives every pilgrim the right to water within a couple of minutes of feeling thirsty. That is the objective, to say that Karbala is a narrative of thirst, and we're going to address the thirst of the modern day pilgrim, regardless of the AAA rating. So Arbaeen, Ashura, Arafat being the highest peak periods of their attendance. They attend in larger numbers, they attend for longer periods of time, they come and stay for longer, and it is in the warmest time of the year. So all of that capacity is being created so that no one needs to go thirsty or without water or rely on plastic capsules, which have been shown to be fairly carcinogenic in the needs. In the moment you feel, I'm thirsty, what else do I have? Do I drink from a dirty river? Do I stay thirsty for even longer and faint? Or do I take it from plastic? And plastic feels like the safest option there. If we eliminate that and have it on tap, cooled, for your sports water bottles to refill, cups, even up to 30,000 litre tankers. Not sure Sayyid Jawad has got that in his accompanying car journey to carry that much water, but whatever the need is, that ultimately gets addressed by that. So I think that was 5 minutes, Raza. But happy to take any questions now.
That was a Pakistani 5 minutes.
But Gujarati, that I'll take that as a compliment.
Okay, thanks for that, Mukhtar. So what I just want to do, I want to talk about the actual sort of, I guess Mukhtar's spoken about where the money is going, the match funding, and what Lady Fatima Trust are doing. So I just want to talk about what we need to do. We need to get to 1,000 each. Inshallah, we'll be more than our target is 44,000. Right now, the website says 30, but it's going to move up. And I think we're going to go past that 44,000. I feel very good about this. Now, everyone's got to do their bit. I think it's probably difficult for the guys that are outside of the UK, because you cannot, I think your donors can't give it to our on our link and benefit from the tax benefits. But I believe that there is another company, another charity in the Americas that you can use, and when you do donate to that company, just let us, or so when a donation comes in to that charity, you let us know how much has been raised. Make sure you keep the receipts and the audit trail, and then what we will do is we can make an offline donation entry on your page to bring it up to that amount.
Sure. Raza, would it help if I just chimed in for 30 seconds? And we'll make this a Gujarati 30 seconds, right? A Koja 30 seconds, right? So we'll try and make it as seamless for our Canadian and US donors as it is for the UK. On the online platform, we can offline add those donations, but by donating to IMI in the US and IHS in Canada, you get your tax receipts, so you will be as tax neutral as a UK donor getting his gift aid, and we'll keep a manual online track of that. We've got one person dedicated to do that, so that you feel as part of the team as anyone locally. I think that's 28 seconds. So I give you 2 seconds back.
Excellent. Thank you. Someone's got a question here. Who's that? Ejaz, you've got a question? Would you like to come off mute? Walaikum salam.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum. Yeah, I mean, he just said it. Brother Mukhtar just said it. It's IHS in Canada that's going to look after the donations from here, issue the receipts, and then transfer the money over to Lady Fatima Trust in England, inshallah. So we are working with them.
Excellent. And I think what you're doing also is when the donation goes through, you send it to me and I get it uploaded as an offline donation on your page.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
we're
we've
going to
done
do
a couple
that,
of those. Yeah, we've done a couple of those as well. So that's great. Yeah, that's all I wanted to cover. Any help with anyone raising, needing to raise money, please let us know. It's a team effort. Also, Mukhtar, I think we're going to try and monetize and raise money for this. I'm not sure how we're going to do it, but you're going to have to get on a bike. We're going to make you ride a bike, and we're going to...
I would have so loved to ride a bike, but because I missed out on the first part of this presentation,
okay.
I feel so let out and left out of the whole thing. So inshallah,
we'll make a special...
I'll join on time just to make sure I understand how it works.
Don't worry. Don't worry. You can still do it. So what's going to happen is Mukhtar is going to ride a bike out there. We're going to be. We need to get to a certain total to see him on a bike, and we're going to take some really nice videos and post it on the Lady Fatima Trust website. Okay. So thanks, Mukhtar, for your time. I'm going to move on to the next slide as well. Okay. So there's some great stuff that we've got coming as well. And again, we've had sponsors that have paid for this. So I'm in two minds whether to show this stuff to you. Some of it has arrived, some of it will arrive soon. But okay, all right. I've got some stuff behind me here. All right. So we've got some jerseys that will be arriving, and they're shipping tomorrow. And these jerseys there's one for each of you. So we've got these blue colored jerseys. It'll have your name. It's got the Lady Fatima Trust. It's got some sponsor names on it as well. And what will happen is it hopefully will be delivered next week. And I'm just worried. I'm just hoping the sizes all work out. I know it's a wonderful brand. I know the fitting is going to be great, but sometimes sizing wise, well, let's see. It should be okay. So we've got a jersey for everyone. Mukhtar, we've even got a jersey for you as well. So don't feel that you can't ride because you don't have a jersey. There's one for you there as well.
I tried that with golf. By putting on golf wear, you don't become a good golfer. So wearing a cycling jersey helps me pedal faster. Very happy to try that out and see whether it proves my theory wrong, but we'll leave that to your good coaching.
Yeah, nice try. You're still riding. We're all going to have rider numbers as well. So each of our bicycles will have a rider number on our bikes. So we'll be attaching those on day one, and seat post numbers as well. So it's a way for us to identify you. We've got a bag, Basra Karbala bag for everyone. And what's going to go inside that bag? Well, it's going to be those items that I just spoke about. There's also going to be water bottles for everyone. And this is, I don't know, maybe it's my age, but I'm getting really excited about this, a water bottle. So everyone's going to get 2 water bottles. You got the Basra to Karbala. And I think my camera is can you see it the right way around, or is it reversed? Can you see the writing reversed? Or can you see it the right way around? I don't know.
It's fine. It's the right way around.
It's fine.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. So, and I don't know if you can see over here, it's got your names on it. All right, so all of our riders, we've got our names. So you'll have 2 of these bottles with you. So hopefully you'll be well hydrated as well. And then there's also a buff that hasn't arrived yet. It'll be coming in a couple of days. Someone said on the group that they want to see Mukhtar in Lycra. I said, I don't think we can raise that much money. I don't think we should either. So is that
You mean
is
that
to
much
Mukhtar?
lycra?
Yeah. So we've got some snuds rider numbers. We're going to be giving some bag tags as well. So your rider number, if your rider number is 5, for example, that rider number you'll have on your seat post, you'll have on your handlebar, and you'll also attach it to your luggage. So we know that number 5, that belongs to the person who's number 5. There'll be some T-shirts that will be printed in Iraq as well. Hopefully, they'll be printed in Iraq in time, and those are T-shirts that you'll be able to wear in, let's just say when you're not in your lycra. We've got some T-shirts with our logo and sponsors and the charity name on it, so you can wear out there. And we also got some T-shirts that we're going to give out and give away to people that we see in each city. So that's the merchandise. I hope you guys are happy with that. And it's all been paid for by our sponsors. And here we go. We're going to talk about our sponsors over here. So obviously you've heard from Lady Fatima Trust, who is our charity partner. We have Simba Properties. So again, I will show you some of the, I don't know if you can see, is this the right way around? No, it's the right way around. So yeah, so that's the front of the jersey. It's got Simba Properties. It's got Bullsmore Dental. So thank you for the sponsorship. At the back, we have some other sponsors as well. We've got, obviously, there's Lady Fatima Trust there. We've got, you can't see it here on the sleeve because the sleeve hasn't been printed, but we've got Bike Depot or Bike Depot, as I've heard it been pronounced. We've got Westkin, we've got Evolve Cycling, and we've got World Sim. We've also got Cruxton Travel as one of our sponsors, who gave us cost price tickets, and we'll do any rebooking or anything, name changes and things like that if need be. I want to sort of talk about World Sim a little bit. So what World Sim will do is they will provide us an eSIM. So each rider will get a 10 gig eSIM, and that should be enough to cover you for the whole duration of that trip. And I guess you can also, top up that eSIM as well if you wanted. But 10 gig is a good amount of data that you can use, and that so thank you, World Sim, for supplying that to us. Where are we now? Okay, so let's move on to the next one, social media. So social media is quite an important thing for us if we want to reach our target and surpass our target. So on Instagram, we have a hashtag DSU Riders UK. Guys, if you can follow Instagram, follow us on Instagram and I hear people saying this all the time, and I'm like, what does it mean? But yeah, like and follow. Is that right? Can you like and follow us on Instagram? And when MJ posts stuff, because MJ is in charge of the Instagram at the moment, just forward it and tag it and whatever. I don't know. Just do whatever. Tags and hashtags. That's what it's about, right? Now, another exciting thing that we'll be doing out there is vlogs, or it's not, I don't think they're called, are they vlogs or vlogs? Vlogs, we'll call them vlogs, right? So we're going to do like a video diary, right? So it's going to go on to Instagram as well, and it's going to be good times, bad times. It's going to cover the whole of the trip. So we're going to be doing vlogs out there. So just be prepared for the camera to be put into your face, at the most inconvenient time, and stick a smile on your face, because that's going to go on Instagram, and hopefully get us even further north of our target. Next slide, please. So again, we're going to talk about MJ. MJ unfortunately wasn't able to join us, but the documentary. So we touched base on a documentary. So there's going to be a 30-minute documentary, 2-part documentary, 30 minutes each. That's going to be created. we're going to be following a group of riders. So, you know, we've got a father-son combo over here, which will be quite exciting. I'm sure they'll not have a falling out. I'm sure they'll be, you know, they'll build on their already wonderful relationship. We've got people that are first time going to Karbala. We've got our Sunni brothers that are joining. We've got people that have had personal battles that they're overcoming. And these are some stories that MJ is going to incorporate into this documentary. So this documentary will be so to do the documentary, we need footage, and you will see MJ all over the place doing all sorts of weird shots, but trust him, he knows what he's doing. And at the end of it, and after maybe many hours of editing, we're going to have a beautiful documentary, and that documentary even will go onto some of our channels as well, our local channels here in the UK. And you know, if you want in Canada as well, we can put it onto our community channels out there as well. Just reach out to us. So we've got that coming, and that'd be a really nice memento for us, a really nice souvenir. Flight logistics. So I think we've managed to get everyone's flight details, and there's a couple of people that I still need to get those flight details from. So the way that we've planned it is that everyone is going to, our ride is going to start on the 28th of January. So that's the first day early in the morning. The Canadian US guys are going to come in on the 27th, and the rest of us are coming in on the 26th. So the thing about the UK guys is we got a group that are coming from Birmingham. So the northern guys are going from Birmingham, and we got 2 groups going from London. We weren't allowed to be put on the same flight. Qatar and said no, we can't have so many people on the same flight. So Cruxton Travel had to do their magic to try and get as many as they could on the same flight. So there's 2 flights leaving on that evening from London, and 1 flight leaving from Birmingham. And the beauty of it is they're all going to land in Doha and jump on the same flight. For some reason, they don't want us leaving it from London on the same flights. But once they're in Doha, they don't really care. You can have the whole group on 1 flight. So we're all going to be on 1 flight in Doha, the UK guys as well. And I believe 1 or 2 of the guys are going to meet us in Doha and jump on that same flight as well. So if you can manage that, that is great. So the plan is that there'll be someone at the airport to pick you up in Basra. So, you know, stay in contact with us. With the we'll have a proper a channel set up. So any issues with flights, you can contact us on there, and we'll try our best to facilitate it. We're going to try and or we're going to pick everyone up and take you to the hotel in Basra. Dropping off, we're going to try and drop everyone off at the airport, or at least try to facilitate that. The Canadians and I believe US will be arriving in Baghdad earlier, and there's a separate group that's been set up for that. So Haider, who will be in Iraq, and he will receive you, and we'll work out the details around that. So if you haven't given your flight details to me yet, I think there's a couple of guys that still haven't. Please send them to me as soon as possible. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so I'm going to hand back over to Amir. Amir, you good for this one?
Yeah,
Amir,
just
okay.
Much of the thinking on what to bring came out of my experience of helping out guys with the Milan trip on the support vehicle and driving that around. So a lot of our sort of knowledge comes from there. If you look at the pre-checklist, most of this should be fairly obvious. Bike boxes don't have to be the official purchased bike boxes. You may find it cheaper and better just to grab a cardboard box that a bike comes from, and you can also pack other things in that bike box. Everything else seems, I think, fairly obvious there. I think it's important, however, to flag up that the derailleur hanger for your bike is important, and there'll be messages on the group about that. It will be very, very difficult, I would imagine, if you damage your hanger during the ride for any reason, to get another one if you don't have a spare. They're relatively cheap, to get a spare one. So I would strongly advise that you do. Whereas we're all going to eat together, everyone has different supplement needs. So make sure that you've covered your supplement needs. And if you want to get together as a group and manage those and bring those together, then that's absolutely fine. But I think most of these things are obvious. Perhaps more interesting and more important is the next slide. Understanding what we need from you guys. So the weather is obviously not in our control, but it's expected to be 18 to 23. There's the potential for rain, so make sure that you have whatever you might feel comfortable cycling if it was to rain. And of course, it's colder in the evenings, fairly obviously, if we're in a desert environment. In terms of the actual weight and restrictions, this is really for UK riders, but please check your own. Most bike and box limit the weight to 15 kg, but please check with your own providers. You also need to have enough clothing for 6 days of evening and morning and sleeping wear, etc. It's a matter for you whether you want to pack extra or you want to have a travel wash or whatever, but obviously make sure that you've covered yourself. I don't imagine there'll be time for shopping, etc. I wanted to just flag up some of the key parts on the in the list now, following on from where it says ziyarat. Clearly, no helmet, no ride. I think it's also hugely important to remember that if we're cycling around an environment where there may be strong winds and there may be sand, it's almost a no-brainer to carry glasses, prescription glasses, cycling glasses, whatever it might be. The other point to flag up is that most of us will be wearing cycling gear, and that's absolutely right. But I think to be respectful of the culture of the country that we're visiting, that overshorts over the top of your cycling shorts, if that's what you're wearing, will be mandatory, and that's not just for urban areas. I think you need to be sensitive to the country we're riding in, and we also need to be sensitive to the fact there is 40 plus of us men riding around. We will look slightly unusual in Iraq, but we don't want to look offensive, so overshorts at all times, please. In terms of a general note, your luggage will be traveling with you in the support van. I would urge you strongly to keep your luggage in one place. It'll actually be mentioned in the code of conduct. It doesn't take a lot for our support vehicles really to become a complete mess if people decide that it's not convenient for them once they've unpacked some stuff to not to put it back in their suitcase, and suddenly you're in the realms of 40 people with carrier bags and things. I want to also make sure that we are aware where everyone's luggage is and it's tagged, and also have a separate area for people's medication, whether that's emergency or otherwise. So at least then that all stays in one place. So there'll be a few of us being particularly strict, and if you don't mind me saying dictatorial, on keeping our support vehicle not only tidy, fit for purpose, but also hygienic as well. Any specific questions on that, then people should reach out to me. I'm conscious of time. Be aware that in the final note before if we can go back one, the bibs and the specific B2K jerseys and t-shirts that have been mentioned today. There will be days where we, in the code of conduct, ask you to wear those, and on those days, we'd ask for those to be mandatory, please. Okay, thank you.
Okay, this is the important bit, the food. So food-wise, the accommodation will be sorting that out for us. Sorry, did someone say something? Okay, put your hand up if you want to chime in. So food-wise, we've got a couple of chefs with us. So Tehzeeb and Heather, they have great food expertise. They may not be cooking themselves, but they'll be assisting in helping us make sure that we have the right type of food at the right spot. But accommodation will have food for us as well, and snacks, I guess, can be purchased on the route. But when it comes to gels, you'll need to bring your gels. I'm not sure what the situation is out there, gels and hydration tablets and stuff like that. We will have water on the on one of the vehicles as well, and the vehicles will always be with us, so we can fill up our bottles there. I have it on good authority that there's also a coffee van that will be coming with us as well. So there's a well-known coffee brand in Iraq called Alwan, and they have a coffee van, and that will be following us for those that have to have your coffee. I'm sure they'll also have food and other beverages as well. I think someone put in the message that credit cards don't really work too well, but I know that USD will be is very well welcomed there, as is the Iraqi dinar. So we'll update you on what the best way to exchange that money. Someone put in the chat, send a few £1,000 over to US dollars over to Herder, and he'll do an exchange. He'll have some big silver briefcases of money coming to you if that's the way you want to do it. But we'll find the best way that works for everyone. And I think that really covers it, right? I think that it's questions now. We could take a look at the questions in the chat, and thank you for your time. You've been very patient by just listening to us go on and on. I feel that this is going to be an epic trip. We always we always want to do something epic, and this is it. I don't think there's anything else I want to say on the topic, but I'm happy to answer, or the team are happy to answer any questions. So feel free to come off mute and come in. Ali has said, will there be any breaks during our ride? Yeah, we will be having breaks. We will. So when the route is planned, we will know what breaks there are and where they'll be. And ideally, they'll be at a place where there is a refreshment stand or toilet facilities or something. Shabir, 45 bike bags are quite bulky. Yeah, I mean, we just need to bring the bike bags, and we'll deal with the rest. There will be enough bike bag, space for the bike bags, so don't worry about that. We may need to know what type of bike bags you bring in. Is it a cardboard box? Is it one of those Allen boxes? Is it a more flexible material one? That gives us an idea of how much space we need. But yeah, we've got that covered. Mukta in Lycra. So yeah, pay enough money and we'll see him in Lycra. Are we meeting Aga Sistani on this trip? We haven't planned anything, and I don't know how to plan that. If someone wants to is in the know and can plan it, you are more than welcome to do that. Let's see. I'm just going down. Anyone that wants to talk about any questions? So I'm just reading it. Tarmac, dust. Okay, so someone, Muhammad Sayed, is that Hussein? Are you on the call, Hussein?
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
That's me.
Do you want to ask your question? He said, be mindful. I think there's a number of questions over here. So do you want to just talk about that?
No, it's not a question. It's just something to bear in mind if you guys trying to use a business bank account there. Just be mindful of, it could get blocked for a certain time. For further clarifications, it hasn't recently, but just be mindful of that. That's it.
Okay, so basically bank accounts and cards getting blocked out there. It's better to use, so what you're saying is better to use cash.
Better to use cash, and they would prefer dollars, the neo currency, the neo notes with the blue ink on it, rather than the old ones. So you know, they will take pounds as well, but the preferred currency over there is the USD.
Okay, cool. That's great. Thank you. Thanks for that. I'm just going up. So you know, Imran and Zahir and Amir, if there's any other questions that you can see further up, you know, please you know, read them out. Okay, so it's hard to maintain 14 miles on average. Okay, so all right, so this is what will happen, right? On a flat, 14 miles is not that hard. I'm not a particularly fast rider, but if you're flat and you're doing 40 miles, we need to maintain a level of riding, or speed of riding. So the 14 mile an hour on a flat road is quite doable, but you mentioned that you do average to, you know, from 10 to 12 miles an hour. That probably is with hills. So let's take those hills out, and you'll find that it'd be a lot faster. And then also, if you're riding behind someone and you're drafting behind them, you will definitely go 1 or 2 mile an hour faster. So now I do want to also mention that we're looking after the many. So we have to do what is the best for most. So there might be some days that you just don't want to ride, which is absolutely fine. You can have your bike in the van, you can sit in the support vehicle, which is absolutely fine. Some people want to ride every day, some people might want to ride part of the day and not all of the day, but that's also allowed as well. Right? What we will also do is that if there is and this is what talks about the two back markers. So you remember the two ride leaders at the back? If they identify someone that is riding too slow, they'll give them a few chances to keep up. But at some point, what they may do is they may just say, okay, just sit in the van for now, and the van will take you to the next point where you can catch your breath, the next stop-off point where you can catch your breath, and then restart that ride there, just so that we maintain that, you know, 14 mile an hour. Or whatever it is. So we've said 14 mile an hour for now, but once we get out there, we'll see what the you know, what the situation is. So don't be too shocked, yeah, that it's 14 miles an hour right now. Everyone can get to that. You just do your indoor riding. I've got this really, I don't know if you can see just over there. There's like a really basic indoor bike. It's not a Peloton or anything like that. It's not connected to anything. And you know what? I do like almost 10 miles on that every day, and it really has improved my cycling. You know, if I ride 2 or 3 times in the week and then on that and then go out in the evening, it really has improved. One of the guys in the group said that if you want to know what a training plan is, so what should your training plan be, you know, nutrition, how much exercise you should do, Chat GPT is wonderful. Put whatever your you know, if you only have 1 hour free a day or half an hour free or every other day, or you know, there's a certain type of foods you can eat or not eat, and you put in the date of the ride and how much you're going to be riding, it will create a personalized plan for you to get you to where you need to be. And it will also incorporate rest days, because rest days are really important. Imran, you got your hand up?
Yeah, just a quick note. In addition to what you just mentioned about speed, now 14 mile an hour, we didn't just pluck that number out of thin air. If you recall, when we went through the itinerary, we'll be riding for 6 days, averaging about 100 kilometers a day. Now there's time consequence to the rides and the day, because what we want to make sure is not only everyone has an enjoyable ride, but we are going to need stops. We will be making a few stops along the way, stopping here and there. You know, we come across a nice scenic route or whatever, a point of interest, we'll stop. We'll stop for food, we'll stop for breaks. So for us to be able to allocate enough time that we're able to not only do the ride, but get to the destination in good time, and spend some time in those towns without needing to rush back because it's getting dark or what have you. So that's where that number came from. And like Rosa said, it's I was looking at the people who are registered and some of the Strava profiles, and I can tell you what, every single one of you can do it. So yeah, just wanted to add that.
Yeah, and yeah, just to hammer in that point as well, we're going to want to get to Najaf in good time, right? So when you're cycling into Najaf, you don't want to be slow. You want to make sure you're with the group. You would get into Najaf. Once we get into Najaf, we shower up. We can go and do our ziyarats as well. When we're there, the next day we leave to go to Karbala, and that's relatively a short ride. Well, I believe even the ride into Najaf is not that long as well, so we've got quite a bit of time to do ziyarats there. So those are the things that we want to do. I know that there is, once you are on the road to Najaf, you just want to power and get there and do your ziyarats. But what I would say is, guys, let's stick to. We have to stick together. We are going to do our ziyarats. We're gonna do all our ziyarats there, and in Karbala. In Karbala it's all walking distance. But in Najaf we may need to get a van or a couple of coaches, but we'll do that together. Also, there is in one of the towns, the mayor of one of those towns may want to take us out fishing. So Chibayish is a town that we're going to be stopping at. Once we get there, the mayor of that town wants us to go fishing or maybe hunting or something like that. So we need time for that as well. So again, we need to just make sure we do that minimum 14 or average 14 miles an hour. Yeah, so someone's got a question. Who's MS? MS is, oh, that's Hussein again. Hey, mate.
Just a very quick question. In Najaf, there are a couple other ziyarats as well. For example, Masjid al-Kufa, Masjid al-Sayla, which is not too far.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll have time to do that, or?
Oh, well, we're not gonna. I'll put it this way: we're not gonna leave Iraq without doing those.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, and those are the sort of details that we're still working on. It all comes down to moon sighting.
Mm-hmm.
If the moon sighting is what we believe it to be, then yes, the plan is as we said. But if the moon sighting is a day early, then we need to move it around. So we've got to be a little bit flexible. So that's why I say bear with us. We have a added disadvantage that we have to bear in mind that anything we plan, the moon sighting is very, very important. So Shabir, so this is not Shabs, this is Shabir. You've got your hand up. You got a question? You can come off mute.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody.
My
question is, will we have some time to visit some of the shrines in Baghdad as well?
Yep.
And second question was, will we have facilities to wash and dry clothes at end of the rides on every day?
So answer to question number one. Yeah, we are going to be our ride finishes in Karbala, and it finishes on the 2nd, right? So the 2nd of February is when our ride finishes. Doesn't matter what the moon sighting is, but our ride will finish on the 2nd. Now, those of you that are flying out on the 5th, you need to be in Baghdad, which is I think it's a 2-hour drive away. So you'll need to get to Baghdad in time for that flight. And if you want to do the ziyarats in Baghdad, then you need to have time for that as well. So there are some ziyarats that we know, but if there's anything specific that you want, then Heather can signpost you to that. Your second question was washing facilities. I sincerely hope so, that there are washing facilities. I'm absolutely counting on it, and I'm sure most of you are. So we will, Heather again will let us know, but that's a really good question about washing facilities. Imran, you got your hand up again?
Sorry, I'm talking a lot today.
No. I'm talking a lot again. Stop me from talking, guys. Go.
Yeah, just a quick one on, previously I mentioned about our average speed, 14 mile an hour, etc. So just to put your hearts at ease, this is going to be a no drop ride. So don't worry.
Can you explain what no drop means to everyone?
Yeah, so basically we are going to be together, riding together from start till the end for all of the 6 days. We will not let anyone drop, and hence why the formation comes into play. Is super important. We will be riding between 2 support vans, basically, in a controlled speed, even including the sprint phases as well. You'll still be between the support vans. Now, there's going to be one of two things that will happen during the rides. Either we'll all be riding together, or here's where I need you all to be cooperative and be patient with us. If you are, if someone, one of the ride leaders or one of the marshals identifies you and tells you, hey, you're struggling or whatever, please get in the van and you can continue your ride the next day. Please be cooperative. It's all because of logistics, as well as we just want to make sure that everyone doesn't get left back. So either you'll be riding with us all together, or you'll be sitting in the van, one of those two, but you won't be dropped at all.
Yeah, I'm just going to quickly talk about if there's any accidents. So anyone has a puncture, if it can be fixed within a few minutes, then that's fine. Otherwise, the bike goes to the next stop where the puncture will be repaired. If your chain comes loose, again, if we can fix it in a couple of minutes, then great. Otherwise, same thing as if you have a flat tire. If you're now, what else could go wrong with the bike, right? I mean, we ride our bikes, like hundreds of miles a week. Those are the two main things that happen. But sometimes the rear derailleur hanger also falls off as well. So that's why when Armin mentioned earlier, it's good to have a spare one of those as well. We do have mechanics with us as well. I think most of the guys over here have a basic understanding of how bikes work and how to fix. But I personally will be leaning a lot on Imran Mamdani and Arif Suleiman, for any biking mechanical assistance. So just adding any pressure onto you guys there as well. So I'm sorry about that, but the pressure is there. So with that, I'm going to move on to Samir Chandu. You got a question?
Yeah, thanks. Just a very quick question. In terms of luggage, how does that all work? Sorry if I missed it in the presentation.
What sort of luggage? You mean, so where our luggage is going to be, or how much luggage we can take?
Both, really.
Okay, so our luggage allowance in the UK is 40 kilos plus 7 kilos, one of those cabin bags, and then I guess a rucksack. So I don't think we have an issue with how much we can take. So
it's not like the Milan trip then, essentially.
Sorry?
It's not like the Milan trip.
No. So basically, you've got your bike box and you've got another suitcase.
Okay, and then in terms of the suitcases, presumably that they are in the support van and travel with us.
So we're deciding what's going to happen. So option number one is the bike boxes and suitcases will all be in one van. We're not going to need our bike boxes till we get to Karbala, and the suitcases will be in a separate van. Because there's no point in us accessing, having half in half, or maybe there is, I don't know, but that's something that we just need to decide. If, for example, we may decide to send all the luggage, well, okay, not all the luggage, but all the bike boxes to Karbala and wait for us in Karbala. So that means that, one less van needed. So these are the things. It comes down to what the availability is of vans and how many vans do we want. Are we clogging up the road? So yeah, it's yet to be decided. And it's one of those things that might be decided in the last week. Okay, so we've got some questions coming up here. So let's see. Fadel, you regularly do 22 kilometers an hour for 25. So, as Imran said, that what is 22 kilometers an hour? What is that in,
It's about 14.
So yeah, so you're doing that. You're doing that already for 25 kilometers, and so yeah. So Fadil, I think you're already doing that. So I wouldn't worry too much. But if
And
you do
remember,
need
there
to,
are breaks, right? This is not
yeah,
non-stop 100 kilometers.
yeah, definitely, yeah. So we're not stopping. Sorry, we're not going without any stops. We're going to have a number of stops, and if you do feel tired, we've got a support vehicle as well. You could jump on the support vehicle, and they can take you to the next stop where you can catch your breath. And then, for some people, you may not want to ride every day, so you've got that option. You don't have to ride every day. We want everyone to ride every day because it's a riding holiday. But if you feel that you can't, what if a rider has a? What if one rider, I guess, has a serious injury? So what will happen is one of the things that Heather is going to identify is hospitals and medical centers on the way. So if there is a serious injury, then they'll have to go to the hospital and take it from there. What if a rider sustains a bad fall or okay, all right, so same question again. I mean, I guess it's the same. It's the question that you can ask. If I'm going to go to Iraq on a ziyarat and I'm not cycling, what if I get hit by a car, or what if I fall down some stairs? It's exactly the same process that would be followed there in that instance as well. Is there a possibility of leaving early in the morning for slower riders? No, there isn't. So these are one of the things that we have actually thought about. There's lots of things that we've thought about, but we haven't given the thought process to you because it's just going to burden you with more information. But since the question's been asked, why don't the slower riders leave early? So the slower riders leaving early means that the slower riders are going out in a small group. And that in itself has got safety implications. We want to we want to maintain that big group, and if it means riding slower, then we're riding slower. Now, if it's too slow, then you'll be tapped on the shoulder and say sit on the van for a while. So don't worry, everyone's going to get ample time of riding. In fact, I'll give you one example. When we were riding from earlier this year, we went from Milan to Venice. So that was how many? That was 350 miles, right? 350 miles, I think, right? Over 5, 6 days, right? Everybody wanted to sit in the van, right? And Amir Zaidi can testify. He was the van driver then. Everyone, they were paying him money, promising him food and favors to sit in the van. So you will want to sit in the van for for some of the time. So don't worry that you're not getting enough riding. You're going to get as much ride as you want to get in. I mean, I hope I'm answering everyone's questions. I want to be really honest with people here and not mislead you in any way. But as Imran said, we're not going to leave. We're not dropping anyone. We're not leaving anyone behind. Everyone is going to be catered for. We just got to be mindful that when we're catering for one person's needs, we have to balance it with everyone else's. So if one person says, "Hey, I can't go less than 20 miles an hour," it'll be like, no, you're going to have to go less than 20 miles an hour because we have to care about the rest of the group. Equally, if one person is saying, I want to go at 8 miles an hour, well, no, you can't. We're going to have to find another way for you to get to your destination because we have to think about the rest of the group.
And just to add to that, Raza, sorry, quick one, just jump in. Whilst we will definitely look after you, so don't ever worry about that. But just do us a favor, and if you're already training, if you're already doing your rides, please continue to do so. And you, by any chance, you haven't jumped on a bike in a while, please start tomorrow. Don't have much time left. Literally, we have maybe a month, 6 weeks, 7 weeks at the most. And we want you to ride. We want you to enjoy the ride, and we want you to complete the ride. So yeah, so if you haven't done your training rides yet, now's the time. Jump on one or go out riding. Even if it's, you know, half an hour a day, 1 hour a day, anything is going to help.
Yeah, it's really important to do that. Okay, so
we have.
Okay,
do you have anything? Have you done all the lists, Raza?
Yeah. So just one thing I wanted to mention is those of you that have a medical history, if you're taking any medication, you know, if EpiPens or, you know, anything that needs to be administered. So that's another reason for having the buddy system as well. So that buddy that you have that day, just brief them and let them know that, you know, and, you know, hopefully you won't need it. I pray that we're not going to need it, but we just got to be prepared. Let's just say, you know, you have epilepsy and you've got an EpiPen, you know, someone's going to have to administer it for you. The first port of call would be that buddy, right? Because, you know, I might not be there. You know, we have some doctors, we have some medical people on here that have knowledge, but they may not be that close to you as well. So I would say if you're whoever your buddy is during the day and whoever you're sharing the room with at night, just let them know that, you know, your medical condition, so that it's only so that they can help you out should you have any issues. Okay, so first of all, I think Hussein, no, actually, yeah, Hussein, you had your hand up.
Yeah, just very quickly, you know, the visa form that I've just shared, if people can download that and pre-fill that before they land, it'd be quicker. You just have to give them the right amount of money, which is I don't know, $88 or $89, something like that.
I think it's gone to $102 now.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. Last week it went to 102.
Okay. So that makes it quicker, having that many people landing at the same time. You know, you can just hand over the passports with that form.
Yep.
And you'll get them back together.
Yeah. So hopefully Heather's going to have someone there that can facilitate that. So yeah, we'll fill out those forms. I filled out like when I went this year, I filled out like 8 forms, and believe me, I even scribbled on some of them, and I put them in the passport, and I gave it to the guy at the desk, like, you know, whatever, they're like 10 passports, and within 35 minutes, I got my visa stamped in all of them. Yeah, I wouldn't say scribble, but I had to do 8 or 9 at the one go.
They don't really, but sometimes they may ask you about the hotel where you're staying, so you can just put either Karbala or Najaf, any hotel on the form, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Okay, so okay, Heather, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, just for everyone to see. I don't know if the map is correct or not. This is where we're going to start. Okay, so the Basra, and we go to Chubaysh here, Nasriya, Samawa.
So
one thing
we've got the map here. We've got the map.
Area.
Sorry, Imran, can you just bring the map?
Your map showing up to this point only. Your map is showing only here. It doesn't show here. Okay, but it's okay. But what I'm trying to say is the itinerary, it may change according to this area here, which is we're talking about after Sumawa. After Sumawa, we got option to go to Diwania or option to go directly to Najaf. Okay. Why I'm changing to this directly according to the so many reasons. I put them here in my note. We got the reason, the type of the road, and the type of the road, the road quieter, countryside, the tarmac, and easy access from here to here, and give us 1 day extra. We can spend it here in the Chubaysh. Okay, this all these road and the condition of the road. This is when I will drive from Baghdad to Basra, and I will go all the way following all these routes here. Okay. The reason I have the map, I want you guys should see there is a lot of things to see. Like here, this is in Nasiriyah, and this is here in the Samawa. We got a few places you need to see. So this is may add a little bit of extra on the distance. But in anyway, I found it's an easy way to put it. The distance here we got Basra to this, I think 110. From here to here is going to be 110. From here to here about 110. But here we got 140. After that is going to be very easy ride, which is only 80 kilometer day. All of this, the place, what we're going to know here, the place, the name of the hotel, and the location, the check-in, check-out, how many activities in every single cities, buses, and the hospitals, and the basically the main things, the road condition and the stops. We're going to have all these, all these places, like for example, from here to here is going to be 60 kilometer. So it's going to be very easy to have one break in the middle, then we can carry on to stop here. And I would like to back to one thing about the speed. And I got a lot of the riders asking about the speed. Now I'm in Iraq already. I do the ride every single Friday, and I see 14 mile. This is a very slow ride. I'm not asking to increase it. I'm just giving a chance for the slow riders to not get scared of the long distance, because it's 14 kilometer. I never done it in Baghdad at all. My average was all the time about 19 mile, which is, I didn't put any pressure on myself to have 19 miles per hour. It's all flat. It's all easy to go. And 14 mile, I calculate the distance. The longest distance we can cut, it's 6 hours cycling. If we have 140 kilometer in one day, that means it's 6 hours cycling, which is, I think it's doable for every single one of us. And plus, there is a lot of stops. Our stops is not going to be in the first 1 hour or two, because we still need to be warm. I want to correct something about the temperature. We put it in the list. The temperature in the morning, just let me tell you what the time. I put the timetable here. The sunrise, it's 6:30. It's a Fajr. It's just you're talking about 5:30 or 1 hour before. I mean, talking about the namaz time. But the sunrise, it's 6:30. So before the 6:30, we have to be really ready. Then we move at 6:30 every single morning. There is no after that. Otherwise, it will affect the rest of the night, the day, which is the food time and the rest of the activities on every single city. We may have a lot of activities on that cities. And basically the sunset is about 5. So we need to be in every single stop before 4. We can't cross that limit, because it's going to be dark. The road condition, we can't check it at night. At daytime is very easy. And this is one. So if you calculate how many hours you have maybe about 9. You have about 9 to 10 hours during the daytime, so you can do whatever you want. I mean, we could cycle slower than 14 or faster than 14. So this is more relaxing information for any slow riders. And plus we have I forgot what it was put in. You mentioned here about the visa and the temperature. The temperature early morning, and that time expected between 8 to 14. It's only early morning, and this is so. If it's 8 to 14 degree, you don't need to wear something thick, because within a few minutes of your ride, you will warm up and you will feel very hot if you put a lot of clothes. So don't worry, even the temperature dropped, but I'm not saying drop to 0, but I'm saying to 8 or 10 is doable, because I have cycled in degree 8 last Friday, and it was really, really nice. And to be honest, I was hitting 18, 19 mile, and I was sweating on that 8 to 10 degree. So you don't need to be worried about the temperature, as in a lot of clothes, wearing a lot of clothes to get ready for the road. And something else here about the road conditions and the road width and the cars with us. I need to check is that the road can take the riders and the car next to them, or only behind them, or ahead of them, because this is so important, because it's going to be very long chain of the riders. So we need to know, are we okay to go through what we have? Only one issue when we get into the city or when we leave the city, because a lot of junctions, a lot of crossing, turning left and right, so it's going to be a little bit confusing. So that's why when we want to say 6:30, has to be 6:30 to leave, because the speed within the city is way slower when we go out of the city. So this is one of the things when you mention 110 kilometer, and you say it's within 14 mile per hour, is going to be about 4 hours or 5 hours. It doesn't work like this, because we got cities, we got villages, we got small towns to cross, so we may change the speed. So any slow rider, don't put in your account, I'm too slow rider, this journey is going to be a lot of stress on me. Don't worry about it. And I'm guarantee all of you, no one going to ride on 14. All of you going to ride as an average between 16 to 17 mile per hour, because it's really flat and really doable, that speed. Yes. So I got some questions.
Yeah, so we'll come to any questions in just a moment. We've got Fadil has been patient there. So Fadil, sorry, you got your hand up. You have a question? You're on mute. You'd like to unmute yourself?
Come on, Fadil. It's 2:20 morning in Baghdad. I want to sleep. I got a long ride tomorrow.
First of all, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
I would like to thank you all for your efforts, really, and inshallah you'll be rewarded with the best rewards from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on this effort. I just want to comment on the issue of, as a medic, who was practiced in Iraq and practiced in the UK and travels a lot to Iraq and Syria. I think we need to have some sort of insurance. The Voyager high risk insurance is essential. I always use it in Iraq. Not because you have to have it, but because if you wanted repatriation back to the UK or to your place of residence, it would be essential to repatriate you for medical reasons. So I would not skip on that, number one. Number two, they provide cover for cycling. And I think they might also be receptive to a group cover. So it might be useful to consider that, please. I think it's important for the peace of mind of everybody. We are 44 or 45. The risk of statistical risk, okay, as a medic, I'm talking about statistical risk over a distance of about 550 kilometers or miles, whatever it is, and you have 40 people, any serious injury, any fracture would actually mess really the whole thing up. So we need to have cover in order to provide peace of mind, and also in case something happens, we can repatriate an injured one of us and treat them under this cover. Just consider it. I'm just a suggestion. Thank you very much.
Yeah, valid. It is a valid point there as well. So the Voyager insurance, they have 2 levels of cover. It's on the screen right now. Thank you, Imran. And there's a group cover, and then there is, there's a price for a group cover for both levels, and there's an individual cover. I mean, I can't. I'm not going to take on getting insurance for everyone. But I'm going to leave that up to everyone. So, this recording is going to be available for those that weren't able to join and for those that had to drop off early. But, if you need to have, if you feel more comfortable for medical, to have medical insurance, then this product is available. And even though it's, Iraq is on the FCO list, it's still this company still covers. It's a high risk area, but they cover.
Yes, I know. I use it regularly. Voyage insurance. Your standard travel insurance cover does not cover Iraq because of the FCO restriction.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. So I did give them a call, and they're very good, and they gave me a quote within a couple of minutes. So yeah, so that is available. So we'll take that on board.
And I did check the actual policy that I used last in Iraq. It did cover cycling as a sport activity.
Yeah, this does as well. So I did let them know that we'll be cycling, and they said yes, it does cover it. Okay, so thank you, Fadil. So we got Reza. Reza, you got your hand up? You're on mute. No, sorry, Fadil. Reza, Fadil, you're on mute. Do you mean to talk? Give your thumbs up if you mean to talk. Okay. If you want to talk, come off mute. Yeah. So Voyager insurance.
Sorry, I was pressing the wrong button.
Okay, no worries.
Okay, good. Now. So I have a few questions. The first one is about money. So I do know that for the visa on arrival, you need 100 plus pounds. Are there any other dollars? Are there any other places where we will go where we need to pay dollars? Like if you're going to, to a site which is a tourist site, or if you're going to go to the mayor's place, will we are expected to give any further donation? So I'm just trying to calculate how much money should we bring along, for the 2-week period. Plus, when we are riding, where should we keep the money? In our bags, in the van, or we carry some with us and some, in the van? What would your suggestion be in general? So that's the first question.
Okay, so food-wise, you're covered unless you want to pick up some snacks on the way you see a shop, you want to get a souvenir. So it really is down to you. Once you get into Karbala and Najaf, if your wife is anything like mine, she's going to have a shopping list. So there is stuff to be purchased out there. If you want to give to local charities when you're out there, so again, this is down to you. I would say you need to have a fair amount of money for it depends on what you want to do and how strict you are. Yeah.
Let's take this point and come back at a future date to the group with a minimum amount of US dollars that they should bring. Right.
Okay.
I think that should help Reza and others who might have the same question.
And where to keep it as well, we'll answer that as well at the time.
Yes, perfect. Because sorry, I have never been to Iraq, so I'm not sure, what would be a reasonable amount, and what the expectation as well. So that would be great.
I mean, you can give it all to me if you want.
Oh, perfect. Sure. Okay. The other one is laundry, and this is an area where I'm really pathetic, and I'm not sure how many people are good at it. But will we have facilities where we can go and get our clothes clean and get it the next following day, or in those 6 days? I guess it will be too tight to get that facility, and we have to do it ourselves. And what's the best way we can organize that?
Heather?
For the laundry, I'm going to ask about the laundry, but only one thing. What I do myself when I come from my ride in morning Friday morning, I take my bike with me to the bathroom. I wash my bike, I wash my clothes, I take it out, and I put it outside. But because it's hot weather, so within a few hours you get them dry. In the winter, the problem, we can't guarantee is going to get in dry until next day. So I can't guarantee there is the dishwashers, with the washing machines with a good speed, the spin speed, so it can get it dry. This one I will check what we can do for it, but in the beginning I would say it's
Either there are no tumble dryers in Iraq.
No, there
are no tumble dryers in Iraq. In the south, in Nasiriyah.
Now they do. Yeah, they do have it now. They start having it, but they do have now with the two reserve. But one of them is for washing, one of them for drying.
These are not tumble dryers.
Can we listen? Sorry, if it's okay, let's the question about washing and drying is a very specific question. I think to answer your question, Reza, I would say if you want to wash something, don't expect it to be back the next day. If it does come back the next day, it will be wet.
Reza, only the jersey is 100% getting dry, but the bib is not. So I don't know.
Yeah, because what I want to say is,
I don't know. What about the material? So the question for you, Reza, is it vented? Is it
so? What I would say, so Heather, what I would say, and to answer Reza your question, I want to answer in a way that it answers it for everyone, right? Whatever you put in the wash, you're not going to get. It's not going to be dry the next day. Have spares.
Sure.
So if you saw the list, the packing list that Amir posted earlier, it said have 2 or 3 jerseys. We've got 1 jersey for you.
Yeah.
And I think you've got a couple other jerseys anyway. Have a couple of bibs at least. And obviously the underwear and all the rest of it, I'm sure you can have plenty. But just be prepared that whatever you put in the wash, it's not going to be dry the next day. You can rotate.
Yeah, but I'm not saying just to correct it. I'm not saying it's going to be 100%. It's not dry. It will get dry, but you may feel it like a bit of damp. That's a different thing. Some people taking it, some people not. But this, I will ask the accommodation everywhere. But it's 100%. There is a big chance to have them ready next day.
Okay, great. So the next question I have is just on the eSIM. So I think Reza, you already mentioned that
10 gigs,
10 gigs, we will get it. Do you know when we will be getting them, or so it's sort of like given to us by this company as a sponsorship?
Yeah, so you're basically given a code and you download the app. They'll give you the instructions, and it's something that you can do within 5 minutes. So even if you're just about to, leave the house 5 minutes before, you can get that eSIM loaded. It's a very simple process to do.
Okay, that's fine.
We'll give you the details. We'll give you all the details.
But we will receive them here, or we will receive them here. Okay, fine. So we will at least put it on. I mean, I've used the eSIMs before, so I know how they work.
Okay.
It's just that sometimes, you have to go fickle here and there for it to just start working, right? So that's fine.
Yeah, he'll give instructions. Yeah.
Okay. And the other thing is, I mean, when I ride, usually I carry a backpack and I get a lot of stuff in it, but hopefully in this ride, we won't need to take a backpack because we have vans, going with us. But what is the recommendation? Do we take like bike locks with us? And because we won't be expecting opening the van and taking the locks out, or is it safe enough to somebody will be looking at the bikes when we having lunch or going to the restroom or something like that?
So if we're stopping off somewhere, then we'll have tons of bikes there, and we'll have someone looking after the bikes. So I wouldn't worry about it. Where we're staying overnight, we will have a secure place to keep the bikes. That's one of the things that we've asked for. But there's no harm in bringing a lock. So I would say, if in doubt, bring a lock.
Okay, sure. Yeah, thank you. That's all. There's one more question on the visas, but it's very specific to my passport. But I'll ask. I've already asked Kristen Travel, but I saw somebody who put out like a note that which countries are eligible to get visas on arrival. Maybe if that person can let me know who they are, so I can talk to them as well, because I think I'm getting conflicting information.
So I would say, regarding the visa, everyone knows for their own country. So you got you got Singapore passport?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, really, from my experience, I'd say it's better to check.
I have spoken to the guy, to the embassy, Iraqi embassy today. So sorry, Reza. Just just to tell you the shortcut of the answer. It's the basically, where do you live? You have Singapore passport. Where do you live?
I live in UK, London.
Yeah, they will account it as a British passport, so don't worry, it's going to be. But in the other hand, if you feel not like really safe, he said, like, let them come to me, or I call the guy, then you meet them at the embassy, then they going to issue a visa for you before.
Oh, so sorry, I need to get a visa from before, not at the airport?
So Reza, what we'll do,
I'm saying,
your question,
you are okay, like you are like a British passport.
No, he's got a Singapore passport. So Heather, let's do this. Reza, your question is very specific.
Okay.
Yeah, ask it on the group, on the Basra group, and then we'll answer it there, right?
Perfect.
Because
Thank you.
So I think we're going to wrap up. If there's any other burning questions right now, or anything that you want to cover, please mention it now. Otherwise, we'll be ending the call. I hope that this has been useful, and I hope that you are motivated and excited as we are for this trip. So I'll stop the recording now. Gosh, I'm so glad I was recording,